Ice Age.
So in Record of Ragnarok chapter 88, we find out about the Primordial Gods. We had first believed potentially this Primordial God tied to the Arcade was going to be a singular god, the one above all, so to speak, for Record of Ragnarok, but it looks as if it's going to be an entire new faction or group that may be the final bosses of this series post the tournament of Record of Ragnarok. All these silhouettes really got me excited for what's to come, as I would love the series to progress past the tournament, as some of the fan favorite characters like Thor, who had an awesome moment this chapter, even stepping to his own father, are going to get another opportunity to fight if that's the case. And perhaps we finally tap into the mystical side of some of these prominent gods. It's safe to say that Record of Ragnarok right now is at the peak of its intrigue. But that said, in this video I want to talk about one character in particular, that being Beelzebub. Now, as I talked about during his fight with Tesla, I had a part of me that was a little disappointed because we did not actually get to see the Satan transformation. I personally thought that there might be a situation where Beelzebub had grown to respect Tesla so much and even gone so far as to see him as a friend in the fight, finally achieving the bliss of death, thinking that he was finally going to be put down after all his trials and tribulations by a worthy adversary in Tesla, only for that to be ripped away in the jaws of victory, so to speak, with Satan transforming and ending up getting the win. I thought that that would play into the tragedy of his character even more and show us the crazy power of the Satan transformation. That did not happen. What if the reason that we never got to see the Satan transformation is because it's going to be a major plot point later on? This chapter, again, it was reiterated about Beelzebub's studies into the origin of Satan. As we already knew, he'd gone on a long journey to study far and wide about the origins of Satan, the being that plagues him, the being that has ruined his life and tortures him with his curse, right? The curse that anytime he falls in love, anytime he becomes friendly with, or has strong emotions towards somebody, the pinnacle of happiness, it's always ripped away from him because of Satan. Now, we have some evidence that Beelzebub himself just is Satan. He believes that he is actually Satan, but we don't really know for 100% sure if it's just a demon that lives within him that can take over his body, or if he just has two personalities. Either way, this theory could apply. I believe that Satan, who is stated to be the first ruler of hell, is actually a primordial. Now, we find out that the primordials were so powerful that they actually self-destructed. Their power was too much for them to wield, apparently, and they ended up being destroyed. But it does seem that there's a way to bring them back from the dead or reanimate them, and that is what Odin's plan is, his true end goal: reviving the gods of the Arcade, the Primordials. How that happens, we've still yet to find out. Is the Tournament of Record of Ragnarok a giant ritual to make that happen with the strong souls of gods and the strongest humans alike that are merged with Valkyries, so essentially becoming gods themselves? It's certainly possible. Could that be what the green crystals are? We have no idea. What if, in this case, Satan was one of the smarter primordials, and he knew his end was near? So in an effort to preserve himself, he actually found a host in Beelzebub and implanted his essence. This may be something like Sukuna in JJK, where he was from a bygone period but split himself up into 20 fingers, so that potentially, if he finds a compatible host, he can be revived once more. If this is the case with Satan, I think that that would be extremely cool, for one, as we are getting all this hype for the primordials, for Satan to have been one of the primordials and potentially be a power that Beelzebub can learn to tap into at will to counteract the other primordials. This could get crazy. Now, in this case, I think that because the other primordials are dead, Satan being alive and well within Beelzebub could be a plot point. And it could be a means to where Beelzebub breaks his curse somehow and is able to tap into that power at will, or control it, or potentially strikes a bargain. Whether or not he is actually the being of Satan, he does believe he is. We don't know though, because it could just be an inner demon, or it could be another personality. Either way, I think that whether it's the personality or just another being outright, it is sealed within him. Perhaps Beelzebub was that primordial and he was too powerful, so he concealed his memories of the situation and made himself a lesser being. Or if it's the other being, it would just be like the Sukuna situation I brought forth. This gives us a prime opportunity to reach a level of power that can counteract these all-powerful gods. If we do fight these primordial gods, we're gonna have to see new levels of power from the gods we have today and the cast of characters that are gonna be fighting against them. In Beelzebub's case, obviously it speaks for itself that the Satan transformation was gonna make him more powerful, but since Satan is still technically alive within Beelzebub, he would not be part of the resurrection, and therefore it could potentially be something that Beelzebub could hone. If Beelzebub can learn how to harness the power of Satan, or potentially strike a bargain, i.e. like Naruto and Kurama, or potentially if he really truly is him, can just grasp that power once more, we may be in for something crazy where that is Beelzebub's ultimate power, his ultimate transformation that allows him to fight on par with these primordial gods later down the line. And wouldn't it be something crazy if we find out, because a lot of people have been upset with the fact that the Ragnarok gods seem nerfed, and obviously that's going to be what happens when you have very overpowered beings from different pantheons and you're trying to make them fight in a martial arts style tournament. You're gonna have to nerf them down to make things make sense. What if it's a situation where we get an explanation that some of the gods actually were on their way to reaching the power of the primordials, where they had so much power that they potentially might fall in line with the old trope of self-destruction if they didn't seal away these abilities? I think that would be kind of cool, and I think it would make a lot of people happy. It would tie up some loose ends, and that's a way that potentially you could see a much more powerful version of Zeus, a much more powerful version of Thor. All the gods that we've seen so far, we can potentially see them go to a new level post the tournament. I think that that'd be extremely hype and a really cool, unique way to please the fans and also give us some of the powers and abilities we've been wanting for the longest of times. Now, we've actually already seen one god that was given the primordial title, and that was Gaia in the Greek pantheon. We saw that she had created an army to fight and she was defeated. Now, we don't know about her defeat. We know that the Greeks won that war, but we never saw the end of Gaia. How did she survive the primordial purge? Was this before the purge? Was that just a translation error calling her primordial? Like, is she part of this faction here? Because if that's the case, that leads us to understand that they already have a means of fighting and counteracting these gods, which could add further credence to the Greeks, at least, having far more power than we've seen and that has been displayed. I think that this chapter has opened so many doors, and I'm super excited in the direction we're going. We still have more rounds of Ragnarok to go, but the building tension for what's to come at the end is now at the peak levels of hype, because now we truly have hope for a further story, which is great eats for all Record of Ragnarok fans. Let me know what you guys think about this theory in the comments below, and let me know what else from Record of Ragnarok you'd like to see me talk about and cover on the page. As always, I appreciate all the support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Also, I have not seen the usual preview for chapter 89 that we get essentially right after the previous chapter releases. So if anybody has seen that preview anywhere else from the usual spots, let me know so I can make my preview and prediction video, and I'll get it up soon.
Nice. H